what you say, the truth makes it real.
Hi guys, it's Tracy Coretta. Hi, coming to you live from Atlanta, Georgia. Hey, so this is my very first YouTube video, so thank you for joining me. What I wanted to do today is start talking about love, self-love, and what that really means. And I wanted to really connect love to the idea of wellness. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I'll be attending the 5th annual National Black Women's Life Balance and Wellness Workshop. And at this workshop, we're going to be honoring a really important person. Her name is Billie Avery, and she is the founder of the Black Women's Health Imperative. And so I thought that it would be a really good idea to link self-love and wellness and just touch a little bit on why those two ideas are so important to connect together. What I want to do is just share a book with you all, a book that was produced by the Black Women's Health Imperative. And I'm going to do a screen share. Let's see if this works. Here we go. Did it work? Yay. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so there's a book put out by the Black Women's Health Imperative. It's called Health First, and it's called the Black Women's Wellness Guide. And it was written by Eleanor Hinton Hoyt and Hilary Beard. And so there's a quote in the book that specifically talks about love and links it to wellness. And the quote goes, "At any point in your life, your health is whatever you've made it, building or eroding it in small increments over time, depending on how you've loved and treated yourself." And so I think that it's really important that we link self-love to health and wellness, because a lot of times when we think about love, we think of it as a feeling, and we don't really think of it as an action and the things that we need to do to take care of ourselves. So I just wanted to highlight that quote and make sure that we are thinking of love and self-love in terms of self-care and being very intentional about linking it to wellness. And so what I wanted to share was a little PDF that I made, and it's a really good guide to help you to think about self-love, and think about it in terms of how am I taking care of myself? What are the things that I need to do to make sure that I am thinking about my health and my wellness and my well-being? So I'm going to do another little screen share here so you can see this PDF. And I left 2 of the spaces blank because I really wanted to highlight. Let's see if I can bring this up. I really wanted to highlight that even though we have a definition of self-love and love that may be different for everyone, there are certain aspects of self-love and self-care that is universal. And so I put it on this little self-love wheel. And so I have, let's see, I left 2 blank because I think that we do have certain things that are very particular and personal to each person in their understanding of self-love, but there are certain things that are foundational that I think that should be applied across the board. So the first one obviously is eating well, because if you're not eating well, then it's kind of hard to really explore other aspects of self-love, because if you're not eating well, then you're not healthy. And then another big one would be sleep, because if you're not getting, I just read an article that talked about 7 hours of sleep being the ideal number. And if you're going under that continually, and if that's a consistent habit, you're going under 7 hours of sleep, then you're not really doing justice to your health. Exercise is also a really big one. Time with loved ones, this one's really important because this links to social love, and I write about this in my paper. When I'm done, what you guys can do is go to www.tracycoretta.com, and that's TRACEY Coretta.com, and I'm going to have a PDF, this PDF posted along with my research paper that talks more about self-love and social love and linking it to health and wellness. But this idea of spending time with loved ones is really important when we're talking about social love, because when we're loving ourselves, it's really hard to think about self-love if you're not also getting love from others. A lot of times when we talk about loving ourselves, we think of it in terms of just an individual doing what they need to do to take care of themselves. But it's really hard, really, really hard to love yourself if you're not also getting affirmed by other people and validated by other people who love you and care for you. So I thought it was really important to put that on there. So it looks like I left out 3. And then this one I think is also really important, creating art. So when I say creating art, I really want you to think of the word art, just think of it loosely. Really, art could be anything from cooking a really good meal, you know, throwing together different spices that fit well with your taste buds. Painting, sculpting, writing, making music, singing. You don't have to be good at it. Just doing something that helps you to bring out creativity. I think that is so important to building health and wellness. Just spending the time, taking the time out of your day to create, that's really important. So again, this self-love wheel is going to be on my website. I will post a link in the video when I'm done. The way that the wheel works is this. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps here. I'm gonna clean this up a bit, make it look a little neater. There are 5 rows here. So what you're gonna do is rank each of these topics, and then you're going to fill in your 3. You're going to rank all of these from 1 to 5. 1 being you don't eat well at all. I guess 0 would be the center, the circle. So so for each of these lines, you're going to put a little circle next to how well you think you meet each of these topics. So for example, if you think that you eat really well, then you're going to want to go with 5. You're going to choose the highest one, and you're going to go to each one. If you're consistently getting about 7 hours of sleep a night, then you're also going to go with the highest 5. If you are in school or you're working full time, you have a baby, and you're getting about 3 or 4, then you're going to want to go with the lower ranks. So you're going to do that for each single rank on the wheel. And then when you're done, and you also have to fill in a couple spaces here on what other things you think are important for self-love for you. When you're done ranking all of these things, what you're going to do is connect the dots. And the way that this works is it just gives you a visual representation of how well you're loving yourself and how well you're taking care of yourself. If you connect the dots and it looks like an amoeba and it's got like all these legs jutting out, then it's time for you to really start to think about ways that you can improve your self-love and your self-care. If it looks more like a circle, then you're on the right path, and you just want to keep an eye on everything and keep going, keep finding ways to improve how you love yourself. So that's just a really good tool to use to kind of give you a visual representation of the things that you need to be working on. So I hope that helps you. Again, thank you so much for joining me on my very first YouTube channel, yay! And my very first live broadcast. Again, I'm going to put a link in the video, in the YouTube video down below for my website. I'm going to have the PDF of that self-love wheel. And you know what I'll do? I'll also link that book, Health First, because it's a really important book. It really has a really good guide. It's broken down into different age groups. I think it starts from teenage years all the way up to, I think, I'm going to say 50, don't quote me on that. But it just breaks down a woman's life in different age groups, and it just gives you a really good guide of things that you should really be paying attention to on your health and your wellness. And so I want to leave you guys with one more quote, and this is also found in the Health First book, and it reads that, and again, this is related to linking self-love to self-care and wellness, because a lot of times we fail to make that connection, and I think it's really important. Research shows that about 2/3 of diseases in the United States are caused by poor nutrition and inadequate physical activity. So that's a lot. That's a lot. Obviously there are certain things that we have no control of. There are certain genetic conditions that we have no control of. But there are a lot of things that we can do to prevent certain diseases. There are a lot of things that we can do, pay attention to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. And the way that we can encourage ourselves to take better care of ourselves is to really make the intentional link between love and self-care. All right, have a good night. Thank you for joining.